This is not the way I expected this morning to be, but it's just before sun up here, and I'm heading to a place where I can glass and see where the deer movement is, because I'm having a hard time figuring it out. I didn't see any deer from the stand at all last night, and then when I had to walk by the feeder, it's a couple hundred yards from the stand, to get back to my truck, and there's deer at the feeder. So obviously where I was at wasn't the staging area that I thought it was. But I was going to go back to that stand this morning, but the wind was just screaming, and it's such a small tree. I'm like, I can't get up in that tree in a 40-mile-an-hour wind. I'll get bucked off. And actually a branch fell on my camper during the night, and hopefully it wasn't big enough. It's just a doe and a fawn out in that winter wheat field. Hopefully the branch wasn't big enough to tear a hole in the rubber roof liner. I won't know until I get back to camp in the daylight. I'll have to check it out. So this is Plan B again. I've had a lot of Plan Bs. C, D, E, I don't even know what it is anymore, but I'm going to keep working it and just keep trying to figure it out. I've got so many good bucks on camera. I'm in the right property. I mean, there's no doubt about that, because the deer are there. It's just that why I'm not seeing the daylight activity, I'm not seeing movement, I'm not seeing the type of rutting activity that you would typically see for this time of the year. The deer you would expect that the does would be coming to those feeders and the bucks would be checking them. But that's not what's happening. So anyway, I'm gonna do some glassing here this morning, see if I can get any more intel about the movement patterns on this property. There's a couple of points I can get up and glass some fields on this property, and try to learn the movement patterns if I can see some deer. And then also I got 6 trail cameras to check, and then I'll make a plan for evening again, and we'll keep working at it. One of these really nice bucks that I'm seeing on the cameras at dark have got to show up somewhere in the daylight, and we'll keep trying. Well, it is just about noon, and things have drastically changed in the last few hours. This morning, when I was checking trail cameras in a t-shirt, it was 69 degrees 2 hours ago. Right now it is 46 degrees, and instead of a 40-mile-an-hour south wind, we now have a 20-mile-an-hour northwest wind. So I'm going to get in the stand early here. And I got some bad news, I guess. Like I told you earlier this morning, it was just really ripping out of the south, and my stand in here is in a small tree. And I just figured it'd actually be dangerous the way that little tree be waving around. And also, when you have that much movement, it's really hard to draw and settle your pin and all. I had all kinds of reasons not to go out there, but they sound like excuses to me now, because there was a big buck on that scrape at just 20 minutes or so after daylight this morning. And that scrape, I can't shoot to that scrape, but the way the deer go back and forth to that scrape goes right by the stand. So it's likely that I would have seen that buck anyway. So yeah, I'm really second guessing myself, but I can't change it now. But anyway, that's the second daylight picture I have of a buck on that scrape. So I feel like I'm finally in a spot back there where it could happen, and I just got to stick it out. And now with a northwest wind, it'll work. It's one of those winds that's almost horrible, and Sometimes those are the best winds. It's just off, the just off winds can be pretty good. So I'm going to go spend the next 6.5, about 6 hours in there this afternoon and evening, and hopefully this colder weather will get those deer on their feet. And I wanted to tell you all this before I got to the stand, just because kind of a lot to talk about, and I didn't want to do it in the stand. But at any rate, let's head out there and see what happens. This is a classic funnel right here, and we got a trail that runs right through there, and a trail that comes up along the side of this ditch right here. And with this wind today, if they come on that trail, I'm probably not going to get away with it. If they come on that trail, I should be good. And they have been going this way in the mornings and this way in the evenings, according to the trail cameras. So, like I said, it's not an ideal situation, but I'm going to have to be pretty aggressive with this, just because I'm running out of time and it's time to make something happen. I've got to push the envelope a little bit. Well, it's day 5, and it is cold. It's got to be close to 0 wind chills. It's about 22 degrees plus wind out of the north, and I'm back in this small oak tree, and had a doe go through right at breaking daylight. Just a little bit too dark to video. That's all I've seen so far. So I'm going to give this another couple hours, and then I'm going to go down to the other end of this property where I've got a cell camera, and I'm going to pull that camera. I'm just going to give up on that area down there. It's just not working. There is a lot of deer down there. All the activity is nighttime, and I walked in yesterday just trying to figure out where these deer are bedding, and so I walked into an area where I thought they might be bedding, and there's a dead cow in there, and so the wind from that dead cow would be blown right up into the brush of that draw where I thought they might bed, and so I doubt if they're bedding there. And the other place that I think they're bedding is on the neighbor's property, and they don't appear to be coming across the property line until after dark. So I'm just going to give up on that. I'm going to give this today, and probably, if things don't improve, I'm going to probably just head out tomorrow. It's just, there comes a time when you're doing this where you sort of realize that maybe this wasn't meant to be, and I'm losing confidence that I'm actually going to have an opportunity on this hunt, but I'm going to keep her going here for a few more, probably this morning, tonight, and probably tomorrow morning. Well, it's 38 degrees, and we still got a pretty stout northwest wind. The wind moved just a little bit, and it's a little dicier in here. I don't really like it, but man, I'm running out of time here. It's the afternoon of day 5. The trail camera pictures of the last couple days have confirmed that I'm in the right spot, and typically these road trip hunts like this, you end up in a situation where you kind of figure out that if it's going to happen, it's probably going to happen right here. And I'm convinced that this is it. So it's not the best tree, it's not the best wind, but it's the best I can do for right now. So we'll sit here till dark and hope for the best. There's some really good bucks in the area. We just need one of them to roll in. It's always bittersweet hauling your stuff out of the woods at the end of a hunt when you didn't get a deer. But I did have a fun hunt. It was a hunt of extremes with some incredible weather changes, and saw quite a few deer. We just didn't have the right deer in the right places at the right times, I guess you'd say. But it's an interesting area, and I learned a lot. I always learn a lot when I do these things, and there's a lot of history in this area, which is kind of neat. I enjoyed spending a little bit of time looking around at some of the history and the natural features of this area. But you know, I felt like I was getting pretty close. Just really didn't have good wind directions for where I wanted to be. But I got to go home and start radiation for cancer. I've been putting it off since August. They wanted me to go in and start in August, and I had all these hunts lined up, and this is the last one, so I can't put it off any longer. So I'm going to hook up the camper and head north today, and take my time going home. Probably get home tomorrow morning sometime. But I hope you enjoyed this. I wish I had more positive news on this hunt, I guess. I'd sure like to have a buck in the back of the truck, but they don't always work out that way. I've done 30-some of these hunts, and I suppose I went home without a deer about half the time, maybe even more than that. And there's a lot of nice bucks on this property, as you saw from all these trail camera pictures, but the rut has just been weird. I saw a little bit of chasing, but I'm just seeing a lot of does and fawns by themselves. I'm seeing bucks by themselves, and I'm just not seeing intense rut activity, even though it's November 12th. But anyway, it's fun. It's pretty country. It's got, I guess I wouldn't say pretty really, but it's got a attraction all its own, and it certainly is different